Good morning, Australia, and welcome to Plugged In Australia, daily episode number 17 for February 17th, 2026. I'm your host, Jamie. Today's headlines: a tough new Boxy BYD SUV that could land here under Denza, a major interior upgrade coming for the MG4, Kia doubling down on quality over cutthroat pricing, while a refreshed EV5 is spotted, Geely's EX5 picks up useful new tech, the JAC T9 EV Ute starts hard graft in the Pilbara, and some long overdue heavy vehicle charging projects finally moving ahead. Let's get into it. Kicking things off today, BYD's premium off-road sub-brand Fangchengbao has just launched a pure electric version of its Ti7 large SUV in China. And there are solid indications this vehicle could reach Australian shores under the expanding Denza banner. The Ti7, part of the titanium series of unibody SUVs, now offers two pure EV powertrain options alongside the existing plug-in hybrid variants. The single-motor rear-wheel drive version delivers 300 kilowatt of power. The dual-motor all-wheel drive setup pairs a 215 kilowatt front motor with the same 300 kilowatt rear unit for a combined output that significantly outpaces many rivals in the segment. Now, both use BYD's proven Blade LFP battery chemistry, known for thermal stability and its very long life cycle. Okay, some dimensions for you. It sits at 5,050mm long, about 1,995mm wide, and 1,865mm tall, with a 2,920mm wheelbase, making it roughly 200mm longer and about 95mm wider than a Hyundai Santa Fe on a 105mm longer wheelbase. It'll seat 5, offers a maximum weighting depth of 600mm, approach angle of about 24 degrees, and a departure angle of 25 degrees. And unibody construction, and that will balance its on-road refinement with light to moderate off-road ability. Interior features include a 15-inch rotating central touchscreen, a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster, and a large 26-inch head-up display. No interior differences are reported between the EV and the plug-in hybrid version. In China, the Ti7 is already proven quite popular. The PHEV version ranked 18th in overall vehicle sales in January of this year, ahead of the Tesla Model Y, which was in 20th place. So adding a pure EV variant is expected to boost its sales volumes over there even further. Now, for us in Australia, BYD is rapidly expanding its premium Denza brand here. The Fangchengbao B5 and B8 off-road models are already being rebadged as the Denza B5 and the B8 for local sale. BYD executives, including Chief Product Officer Sajid Hassan, confirmed late last year that the Ti7 is undergoing local evaluation and tuning in Queensland. So suspension, motor calibration, traction control and braking are all being adapted for Australian conditions. The vehicle has previously been displayed with BYD badging at international shows, and its positioning as a unibody off-roader with strong electric powertrain options makes it a logical Denza candidate rather than the mainstream BYD one. Now, this would place it in direct competition with vehicles like the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, got to say Land Cruiser Prado, don't want to upset the Prado owners, upcoming Mitsubishi Pajero Revival, and even the Ford Everest either in its plug-in or electric form. That's the BYD, that is. But with the advantages of instant torque, lower running costs, and BYD's vertically integrated battery and motor technology. Now, pricing remains unconfirmed, but given Denza's premium positioning and the Ti7 size and capability, we're expecting it to land in the $90,000 to $120,000 drive-away bracket, depending on specification. The arrival of a vehicle like this really would give Australian buyers another credible large electric or near electric off-road option at a time when traditional ladder-on-frame diesel utes and wagons still dominate in rural and regional sales. BYD's blade battery tech has proven durable in Australian conditions across the Atto 3, Seal and C-Line models, so reliability concerns should really be minimal. MG has shown the significantly refreshed interior for the 2026 MG4 hatchback. And while exterior changes are pretty much zip, the cabin upgrades address many of the criticisms levelled at the current model. Some of the key changes include the removal of the high-mounted shelf above the dashboard that obstructed forward visibility for some owners, the relocation of the rotary gear selector to the centre console for a much cleaner look, the addition of a proper integrated wireless charging pad, larger and higher resolution screens, a 12.8-inch central infotainment display paired with a 10.25-inch driver cluster, and crucially, a new row of physical switch gear for climate and volume buttons. Interior colour schemes expand to include a lighter tan options alongside black for a more premium ambiance. These updates deliver a cleaner, more intuitive, driver-focused layout that should improve daily usability and perceived quality significantly over the current minimalist but sometimes fiddly dash. For Australian buyers, timing is important. A new entry-level front-wheel drive MG4 with a smaller battery options is confirmed for Q2 of 2026, slotting below the current rear drive lineup, which will standardise on the 64 kilowatt hour pack. High-performance X-Power variants will remain unchanged. MG Motor Australia has not locked in whether the full interior refresh will accompany the new entry models or arrive slightly later, and local specifications are still being finalised. Price guiding is absent so far, but the current MG4 starts around $39,000 before on-road for the base 51 kilowatt hour model, rising to the mid-50s for the longer range and the X-Power variants. The MG4 has been a volume seller for MG in Australia since its launch, consistently ranking among the top 5 best-selling EVs, behind your Model Y, your Model 3, your Atto 3, and the Seal. The combination of sharp drive-away pricing, rear-wheel drive dynamics, for now, and European fine-tuned handling has won its praise, but the interior has often been cited as a weak point. Plasticky materials, small screen, and a lack of physical controls really detracting from the experience. So this refresh directly tackles those issues while maintaining the affordable pricing that's really made MG4 a gateway EV for many Australian households. So with a new with a new cheaper front drive variant coming soon, it could push the MG4 volumes even higher in the competitive small to medium EV hatch and SUV segment against your Dolphin, your Aura, and the Hyundai Insta, and even the Kia EV4. Kia Australia has made its position crystal clear. It will not chase Chinese brands to the bottom on pricing, even as aggressive discounting intensifies in the EV space. Roland Rivero, Kia Australia's General Manager of Product Planning, stated outright that Kia refuses to quote-unquote burn existing customers with drastic price cuts and damage residual values. Instead, the brand is focusing on trust, dealer network, technology, and the perceived quality. Rivero noted that while discounts exist, such as the current EV5 Air standard range at $49,990 drive away for last year's 2025 stock, Kia will avoid dollar-for-dollar matching against cheaper Chinese rivals. Now, in the Australian market, Kia remains the highest selling non-Chinese EV brand. The EV5 and EV3 account for 9 out of 10 Kia EV sales here. 4,787 EV5s and 2,597 EV3s were delivered last year. The EV5 sits around $56,000 drive away, but offers less range and fewer features than comparatively priced Chinese competitors like the BYD C-Line 7 or the Geely EX5. Kia argues the trade-off is justified by brand trust and long-term ownership experience. Adding intrigue, spy shots have emerged of a facelifted Kia EV5 undergoing testing in Korea ahead of a likely early 2027 launch. The big interior surprise is adoption of Hyundai Motor Group's latest Plios entertainment operating system. The same widescreen panoramic setup seen in newer Hyundai models, stretching across the dash to the passenger side. Exterior changes include more aggressive bumpers, new wheel designs, Kia's latest 3-prong lighting signature, and potentially an upgrade to 800-volt electrical architecture for faster charging, addressing one of the current EV5's main criticisms. The current EV5 uses a 400-volt system with battery options delivering up to 530 kilometers of WLTP range. Dimensions are competitive in the mid-size segment, 4.6 meters long, 1.8 meters wide, and 1.6 meters tall, with a 2.7 meter wheelbase, with class-leading rear legroom. Rear legroom is pretty good. Australian sales have been strong despite the high pricing, proving that a significant portion of buyers still prioritise established brand perception over pure dollars and cents value. Kia's strategy is to keep volume models like the EV3, 4 and 5 as accessible but not loss-leading, while using flagship EV6 and EV9 to showcase technology leadership. In a market increasingly flooded with sub-50 grand Chinese EVs, Kia is betting that trust and residual strength will win out long term. I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? Onward we go. Geely has rolled out a substantial over-the-air update for the EX5 mid-size electric SUV in Australia, further enhancing an already well-specified affordable EV. The update deployed progressively in early February 2026 and adds wired and wireless Android Auto, a notable omission at launch that frustrated a lot of early owners. It introduces a drive setup, one-touch function that instantly recalls personalized preferences for drive mode, regenerative braking, lane keeping assist, fatigue monitoring, and speed warnings, particularly handy for fleet or multi-driver households. Other additions include customizable low-speed pedestrian warning sounds with 3 selectable profiles, tailgate shortcut menus, and audible confirmation when switching drive modes. The EX5 launched in Australia in early 2025, priced from $40,990 before on-road costs for the complete trim and up to $44,990 for the high-spec Inspire. It offers up to 430 kilometers of WLTP range from a 60.5 kilowatt-hour LFP battery. It's got reasonably good DC charging, it's got V2L, vehicle-to-load external power supply, a panoramic sunroof on the higher spec, and your whole comprehensive ADAS suites. The over-the-air update capability itself is a really big selling point. Owners receive meaningful functionality improvements without going to the dealer, something traditional manufacturers really still need to catch up on. Geely's rapid response to owner feedback on Android Auto demonstrates the advantage of connected car architecture in the Chinese brand's arsenal. The JAC T9 electric dual-cab 4x4 ute has commenced a 6-month real-world trial with Western Australian mining services company Warrakal in the Pilbara region. It's one of the toughest operating environments in the country. The trial, which began in mid-2025 and continues into 2026, aims to test battery durability, performance under load, charging logistics, and overall suitability for mining support duties in extreme heat, dust and rough terrains. Some of the key specifications for the T9 include an 88 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, dual motor all-wheel drive delivering 220 kilowatts, 517 newton meters of torque, a WLTP range of 330 kilometers, a 900 kilogram payload, and the 3.5 ton braked towing. The T9 platform already holds distinction as Australia's safest ute under the latest ANCAP protocols, achieving the highest aggregated score recorded. The electric version builds on the diesel T9's robust ladder frame construction while eliminating tailpipe emissions, a significant advantage for underground and environmentally sensitive mining operations. The JAC debuted the T9 EV at the 2025 Melbourne Motor Show, and this trial will heavily influence the final decision on full Australian market launch and pricing. Early diesel T9 models have been priced aggressively from around $40,000 drive away, so an electric variant, if approved, could land in the low to mid 70s depending on incentives and final specs. Real-world mining trials like this are crucial for building confidence in electric utes. The Pilbara's combination of high temperatures, long distance, and heavy loads will push the thermal management range and the durability of the LFP battery and the motors to their limits. Data will be invaluable not just for GAC, but for the broader shift toward electrified commercial and mining fleets in Australia. So as that trial comes to an end, hopefully we will see some data coming out on that, and we can report that to you. Now, while passenger EV fast charging infrastructure has grown rapidly, over 1,200 sites nationwide by mid-2025, heavy vehicle charging has lagged significantly. New projects are finally addressing the critical gap. Now, heavy EVs require chargers delivering up to 1.5 megawatts, orders of magnitude higher than your 50 to 400 kilowatt typical for passenger cars, plus dedicated pull-through bays and reinforced grid connections. Some of the notable developments include the Zenobis Mascot, which is a New South Wales facility opened in 2025 with 30 dual chargers capable of supporting 60 battery electric trucks for Woolworths' delivery fleet. A Western Melbourne depot site backed by a 12.3 ARENA grant led by Mondo Power. And you've got Amp Control's megawatt charger designed specifically for mining applications with dual mode capability. And ABB's installation of two 400 kilowatt ultra-fast units at Ampol's Eastern Creek site in Sydney with 4 drive-through bays suitable for larger vehicles. And I visited that last one previously. It's not far from me, for those that have been listening, so it's a very good setup there. The government support is ramping up. $21 million from ARENA in late 2025 for charging and grid integration projects. $266 million via the Driving the Nation Fund, and state-level incentives like New South Wales expanded EV fleet rebates, covering heavy vehicles up to 23 tonnes. Heavy vehicles represent only 4% of the national fleet, but account for 38% of transport emissions. So without interventions, that sector's emissions were projected to hit 22 million tonnes of CO2 by 2030. Electrification, combined with high-power charging corridors linking Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, is essential for meaningful decarbonisation. Early data from electric truck deployments show total cost of ownership parity or better than diesel on certain routes, with some operators reporting faster trip times due to regenerative braking on downhill grades, and most definitely not having to slow down to 30 kilometers an hour on an uphill that's 100 k's an hour. The combination of new charging hubs, manufacturer trials like the JAC T9 in mining, and continued government funding signals that the heavy end of the EV transition is finally gaining momentum. And that's our episode 17 for today, the 17th of February. Plenty of 17s. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Hope you learned something new. Any thoughts or feedback, info@pluggedinaustralia.com.au. Thank you very much for tuning in, and until we meet again, stay plugged in and stay charged. Ci vediamo.